Have you ever wondered what really separates the most successful people from, well, everyone else? Today, we're going to dig into this incredible idea from Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck. And trust me, it completely flips the script on how we think about achievement. And it all starts with how we look at failure. So, picture this. Researchers are giving a bunch of kids these puzzles. And the puzzles, they keep getting harder and harder. You'd expect some frustration, right? But then this one 10-year-old boy, just sweating and working on it, suddenly blurts out, "I love a challenge!" Another kid looks up at the researcher and says, I was hoping this would be informative. I mean, that reaction just completely blew the researchers' minds. They thought you either coped with failure or you didn't. The idea that someone could actually love it, that was totally new. It just begs the question, what on earth did these kids know that everyone else didn't? Okay, so let's get into what they found. The whole point of the study was to see how people deal with setbacks. And what Carol Dweck and her team figured out was that for some of these kids, hitting a roadblock, it just wasn't a sign of failure at all. No, they saw it as something totally different. And this is the part that is just so cool. For them, getting a really tough puzzle was an opportunity to get smarter. The struggle, the effort, that was the whole point. So they couldn't get discouraged because in their world, they weren't failing. They were just, learning. So this discovery led Dweck to identify two totally different ways that people think about their own abilities. She called them the two mindsets. And it turns out these core beliefs shape pretty much how we approach every single challenge in our lives. All right, first up, we have the fixed mindset. This is the idea that your intelligence, your talents, your personality, they're all just fixed, they're carved in stone. And if you believe that, then every single situation feels like a test. It creates this constant pressure to prove you're smart, to prove you're talented, and this deep nagging fear that one failure will expose you for not being good enough. But then there's the growth mindset. This is the belief that your abilities can be grown, through dedication and hard work. Now, this doesn't mean we can all be the next Einstein. But it does mean that anyone, and I mean anyone, can get smarter and better through effort. So really, why waste time trying to prove how great you are when you could be spending that time actually getting great? And when you lay them out side by side like this, wow, the difference is just night and day. In a fixed mindset, your goal is to look smart, so you end up avoiding challenges. But with a growth mindset, your goal is to get smarter, so you actually seek out challenges, you embrace them. You can see how these two simple beliefs send people down two completely different roads in life. So to see how this all works in the real world, let's talk about one of the greatest athletes of all time. We always hear about the natural talent of people like Michael Jordan, right? But that is not the whole story. It's not even close. Yeah, the myth is that he was this prodigy, just born to be the GOAT. We see the legend he became, and we just assume it was always meant to be. We think he must have been effortlessly amazing right from day one. But the reality, well, it's so much more inspiring. Just look at this. He was cut from his high school varsity team. He didn't get recruited by the college he dreamed of playing for. And then he got passed over by the first two teams in the NBA draft. Back then, he wasn't a legend. He was just a kid dealing with a whole lot of rejection. So what did he do after getting cut? Did he quit? Did he decide he just wasn't talented enough? Nope. He decided he was gonna outwork everybody. He started leaving his house at 6 a.m. to practice for hours before school even started. He didn't let failure define him. He chose growth. When he came home totally devastated after being cut, his mom gave him some simple, powerful advice. She told him to go discipline himself. And he did. His incredible success wasn't built on some gift he was born with. It was forged in the fire of relentless effort and a hardcore growth mindset. So what's the takeaway for us? Well, knowing about mindsets is one thing, but what's really amazing is that we can actually help build a growth mindset in other people, in our kids, our students, our teammates, just by changing the words we use. Just check out these examples. When we say something like, "Wow, you're so smart," the hidden message we're sending is, if I have to work hard at this later, you won't think I'm smart anymore. But when we praise the process, like saying, "I love how you tried so many different strategies on that problem," we teach them that the effort, the struggle, that's what really counts. That's how you build a growth mindset. And calling this a mindset crime really isn't an exaggeration. Just think about the damage it does. Praising raw talent makes people fragile. It makes them terrified of challenges that might prove they aren't naturally gifted after all. It literally locks them into a fixed mindset. And this isn't just a theory. The consequences are very real. Research shows that when kids are praised for being smart, they start avoiding hard tasks. Why? Because if they have to try, they think it means they're not actually smart. Get this. In one study, telling students they were smart actually caused their IQ scores to drop on the next test, all because they became terrified of making a mistake and losing that smart label. But here's the good news. This isn't about being stuck in one box or another. And that really brings us to the most empowering part of this whole idea. A question that comes up all the time is, so am I just stuck with the mindset I have? Are you either a fixed mindset person or a growth mindset person for your entire life? And the answer to that is a huge definitive no. The reality is, most of us are a mix, right? You might have a total growth mindset about learning new skills for your job, but a really fixed mindset about your artistic talent, thinking, oh, I just can't draw. And whatever mindset you happen to hold in a certain area, well, that's what's going to guide you there. And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway. Mindsets feel powerful, for sure, but at the end of the day, they're just beliefs, they're ideas in your head. And the most wonderful thing about your mind is you can always change it. So, I'll just leave you with this one question. Now that you know the difference between these two paths, one that's all about proving yourself and another that's all about improving yourself, you have a choice. It's a choice in how you face every challenge, how you think about effort, and ultimately, how much you're going to grow. So, what will you choose to believe?